looks good today. What do I want? What are we cooking?
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars.
We love our subscribers and we want you to be a Rambler. And if you want to be a Rambler, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Once you're subscribed to the channel, you're a Rambler. And we like Ramblers. We love our Ramblers. And that's all I know about that.
Hey guys, so I'm loading groceries into the camper, and I've talked about this before, about how much I really like using canvas bags to get the food from the house to the camper and back again. What's really nice is once I get everything unloaded, then the bags fold up, I store them in the cabinet until we get back home. And then it's pretty quick because clearly I don't have as much food left, right? So I just kind of throw all the refrigerated stuff into the bags, carry them back in the house, and we're good to go. Something that I wanted to talk to you guys about is refrigerator management. So we've talked before about the difficulty keeping the fridges to temperature. And you always want to turn your refrigerators on, like for example, we're leaving tomorrow. And so we brought the camper home so that we needed to do a few repairs on it and to load it. It's been sitting in storage. We haven't been out for a couple months, so super dusty. Everything needed, just kind of a good once over before we take it out. I like a clean camper. I got the sheets washed and dried and put back on the bed, and towels are ready and all that kind of stuff. And then also to make sure that everything is stocked. I always try to restock the paper goods and paper towels and trash bags and make sure that I've got all of that I need. This particular weekend, it's a 4-day weekend, and we're boondocking, so that's a little different. And just a piece of advice to you guys, especially if you have kids, the thing that makes happy campers, not kidding, food. Feed them, they'll be happy. So it's a lot of work to load the camper with the food and everything, but seriously, you guys, just have some go-tos, have good snacks, plan ahead, check a video out before, and I've talked about how I plan food for our camping weekends. This is a 4-day one and we're boondocking, so I've already put together in my mind thoughts about how am I going to prepare everything, how am I going to minimize the cooking requirements, how am I going to keep things simple but interesting, right? We are going to have hot dogs Friday night, so I'm not opposed to hamburgers and hot dogs, but I'm going to make sure I've got all the fixings, right? I'm going to have cheese and pickles and jalapenos for Carl, and just a hot dog doesn't have to be boring, right? But they are easy to prepare and kind of a no-brainer. So those are just some things on the subject of the refrigerators. Okay, so let's go take a look at the refrigerator. My refrigerators are a little different, right? I have two 18 cubic feet refrigerators, which is one of the best-selling features about this RV that I liked. I mean, aside from the beautiful kitchen, looks very residential with the stainless steel hood and all of that. But just so you know, so both of the freezers, they're pretty good size, and I don't have an ice maker, but what I do is I have ice cube trays, and then I have a bin that I will put the ice in as it freezes and as it makes. And it doesn't take up too much space. Of course, I have two freezers. The other thing I have is the portable ice maker. So this thing is really good. If I keep an eye on it, get it rolling, I can make enough ice, pretty much in a day to hold us for several days and maybe even company. So it's not a bad way to go. They run about $100. It's an investment, but if you're an ice person and you really want ice, it's the way to go. So the other thing that I do, and these are gas and electric refrigerators. So the on-off button is in the freezer section. I'm going to show you that. It's this right up here. Okay, so you've got on-off, auto, gas, and the temperature set. Now, what's unusual about these is if you put them just on LP, you'll see this change, right? So it's just strictly on propane now. I usually leave them on auto. That way when we're plugged in, they will automatically be electric. And if we're driving down the road and we're disconnected from power, they will switch back to propane while we're en route. So the other thing is the temperature set. And what's different about these is the higher the number, which is in my refrigerators, it's a 5, that would be the coldest setting. You always want to put it on the coldest setting because trust me, you're lucky to get that kind of temperature out of these. So the other thing about these is they have this venting system back here. This is, I will have no idea what the technical terms are. I think it's the condenser coils or whatever, but all I know is you don't want to block that. You want to make sure that it's got plenty of space in front of it and around its sides. There is a panel right here. It's like a little tray, and what's that? That is for condensation. I'll use it a lot of times for packaged cheeses or hot dogs, lunch meats, things that it's okay if they get a little moisture on them because they're going to be sealed or whatever. And then down below I have these keeper trays. This is probably the coldest part of the refrigerators, so I will usually keep meat down here. A lot of times what I'll do is my frozen foods, frozen meat, I want it to be thawed out by the next day or whatever. I'll go ahead and put it down there, and by tomorrow it'll pretty much be ready to go. If I'm marinating, I'll put hot dogs and lunch meat over here sometimes, and cheese, and then I'll put like raw meat over here in this one, and that usually keeps everything pretty good. I do have a beverage container in this side, and I do keep mostly in this side, in this refrigerator. This is the drink side. For the most part, I will keep all of our drinks over here, unless it's like, you know, we're going to be gone for like a long week or something. I rarely have enough food that it really requires me to use that side of the fridge. So this fridge, this is the main fridge. This is the one that I usually put everything in. Your door is going to be probably the warmest part of your fridge. I do keep a lot of condiments over there, mustard, ketchup, and I will keep milk down at the bottom just because it is a nice big section and it will hold big juice bottles and milk. So I will keep those over there, and for the most part they maintain a pretty good temperature. So the other thing is these handy little bars here. So you lift and they'll fold down. So once you've got where you're going, you can fold them down and get things out in and out easier. But when you're en route, you always want to make sure that they are locked. You lift and you just push down on the bar and it locks into place, and then it won't let anything fall out. And each one of these shelves has one, and then it's got a little space here for like tall items. But again, I rarely use it that way, but you do have to be cognizant that, well, there's this little thing here. I don't know what that, I don't remember ever seeing that before. I don't know why that's there. Maybe it's a thermometer. Okay, well anyway, be cognizant that the things that you put on this shelf may slide off and fall down over here. Okay, so something to keep in mind, not only do things move back and forth, front and back in these refrigerators, they move up and down. I'm not even kidding. I mean, you think about how your camper bounces as you're going down the road. It can get kind of crazy in here, not gonna lie. So just remember those things as you're loading it. The other thing that you want to do is don't load up the sides too much. You want to leave some room, some spacing over and around so that the air has a way to get around all of the food and keep it all cool. So, all right, well, we're gonna load up the fridge, and I've brought all the stuff in, and we're gonna start loading it all in. And the other thing that I wanted to point out, let me see what I did with it. I think it's in here. Oh, yeah, here it is. So this is an egg keeper. You can buy them in the camping section at everywhere, Walmart and everywhere, and it's kind of cool. I do use it, right? It's got these little clip points on it. Open it with one hand here, and what's nice is it's got these little, let's see if I can show you. So it's got these little pokey things here for the eggs to balance on, and then this side is just smooth. So it gives it a little cushion when the eggs are riding in here. But what I like about it is you get a dozen eggs in a very small space. So your regular egg cartons, although you could travel with your eggs in that, it depends on your refrigerator, right? And what kind of spacing you have in there. So sometimes this is very handy. The other thing that I'll use this for sometimes too is hard-boiled eggs. Like if I know I want to make deviled eggs, you could do the halves in here and close it, and it would probably ride pretty safely. But you could just put your hard-boiled eggs in here too until you get where you're going, and then finish your deviled eggs when you get there. So that's my little egg keeper, and I really like that. The other thing that I've been getting lately is these happy eggs. I love my happy eggs. And they come in, let me get it out of here for you guys. So it's got like this double lid to it, right? So it's, this lid opens, and then there's another lid, and then that one opens. And boy, it just really keeps these eggs in good shape. And so if I've got room and I know I've got space to keep the whole carton, I'll just go ahead and use that. But that's how I keep my egg. Oh no, I forgot the Tabasco and the jalapenos. Carl can't live without those.
And finally, new rule.
New rule. Don't ever let Carl around your electronic devices.
So we're out here in the dark because now it's gotten late. Trying to hook up this tire minder. Trying to get it to read. Let me show you what we've done. Okay, so those alligator clips right there. There's a black one right there. The red one's there. And then the wires run right there. And we've zip tied them to the rest of the wiring up there. And they drop down through that hole. And that hole is directly attached to, or comes up from, the landing gear. The leg, it comes through that hole right there. And then the tire minder, tire minder is back there. And we have used metal zip ties to attach it to the leg of the camper. And now when we raise and lower this leg, it only comes up to that bar right there. So this bar is stationary, and it should hold everything just fine. So that's the plan. I got to trim up a few things, but it looks like it is sending a signal to the other tire minder, and we'll be good to go.
Warning, y'all. The content you are about to view may not be suitable for all audiences. I'm gonna use some foul language right now. This is a warning. I am a dumb ass. So remember last night we were showing you how we set up our tire minder to go on our legs of our camper. Donna, I think videotaped that for you. And that's because we thought well, let me start over. That's because I thought only our lower section of the landing gear came up. Well, turns out that all of it goes up in there, telescopes up in there. And so our new tire minder transmitter is gonna now have to be cut off because we use metal zip ties. Because Donna, if you'll just tilt down there for us, you'll see that we have done some major damage to our new $60 transmitter. It is basically totaled, and no, we don't have insurance for that. So I'm gonna snip off those metal zip ties, and we're gonna throw that away. And here's what I have to say about this. If you ever attach anything to your landing gear, and my rule of thumb now is don't ever do that. If you ever attach anything to your landing gear, make sure it's not going to telescope in there and do some major damage. I mean, this thing flared up. There was smoke coming out of it. And it worked, by the way. It worked perfect. Last night I tested it before we hitched up, even because you get close enough, it'll work. I tested it. All 4 tires were registering. And now we're going to have to go to Utah with no tire minder, which will drive me out of my mind. The good news is I checked the tires last night. I aired them up. You know my rule about that. I aired them up. They look like they're in very good condition. So I'm not like freaking out about it. Air is your friend. And so as long as you keep them aired up and check that air pressure, you typically on a typical trip, you're going to be okay. So that's the kind of damage you can do right there. I feel like a fool, but here's the good news. I'm getting ready to go on a camping trip, so I don't care.
So that was us fixing the tire minder again. These things happen. It can't be helped. And listen, next week, we're going to share a little bit with you about the trip that we just took up to Utah. So stay tuned, all right? And listen, don't forget to like. That means hit that thumbs up button. Share the videos. Subscribe so that you know when we're going to put out our next video. And we'll see you guys next week.
This has been a Filmways presentation.